I really appreciate y'all coming out here. Brock said some things that that are just so true. You know, it is just such an exciting time to be in Chamblee. I feel very honored and blessed to have held this position in this time. I've got to meet so many great people. Thank you so much to all of our state representatives, Senator Fran Miller, Senator Elena Parent. We appreciate y'all being here. I said over here to this table, I said, you know, I think we got enough folks here to pass some legislation. You know, as this session back in. We haven't had this kind of a group assembled for a State of the City address in Chamblee ever. So we're obviously doing something right, and I know a lot of that goes to Brian Mock and others, the folks with the chamber. It's only fitting that we're back here with the chamber again. There's been a period of time where we weren't hosting the State of the City with the chamber, and the chamber is doing some great things. I saw Brent Morris in here. Brent, appreciate you. Brent was one of those that helped us take the chamber to where it is now from a business association in Chamblee. So really appreciate them. We got some neat stuff here on your table. James, you've outdone yourself here, you know. And glad to see, we're here at the Marriott, our hotel motel tax, being put to work there. So y'all put all this up here and didn't leave me room for my notebook. But I guess everybody today's got power. He's like, oh, we got all these screens, where's your PowerPoint? I'm like, shoot, at 1 o'clock this morning, I didn't have quite time to put it all together as I was doing this. But thank you to the elected officials that are here, to our county commissioners. We have friends here from Brookhaven. I didn't see there was anybody here from Dunwoody, so I think it was a great comment to say moving up from Dunwoody. And then I also want to thank our city staff. We have got just an awesome city staff. I have the pleasure every single year since I've been the mayor standing before our staff during our employee appreciation dinner and basically just saying, we can do all sorts of really cool things, and I'm going to talk about a few of those things. We can do some capital projects, but at the end of the day, what I recognized and what my wife recognized, and the reason we want to stay in Chamblee was just that high level of service that we received being in the city, and it doesn't happen without our staff. And I try to remind them of that, and I'll talk a little bit about how we've grown substantially. But one of the things I've always said is, as we've grown in size, we don't need to lose that which made us so great, and that's because of the folks that are sitting at this table and back here. So anybody who is with our staff, would you please stand up at this point and be recognized? Those are the folks that make it happen. I tell folks for years, I'm like, if you're calling me to help you with something, you've really got a problem, because I'm probably not going to be able to help you out. But our staff makes things happen. So with that, I'll read a few things and then probably go way off pace. But I said, I'm honored to have served as your mayor since 2006, on the city council since 2002. And this morning, I'm thrilled to report that the state of our city is outstanding. The state of our city is dynamic. The state of our city is awesome. Our city is truly a city on the right track. The center of the universe, some might say. For the past 2 years in this speech, I have talked about the Chamblee of 50 years ago, about a thriving, vibrant city with full employment, young families with money to spend on new cars and new houses, and with a tax base that was strong. Today, we are once again in the process of building a new Chamblee. The Chamblee today looks quite different in population, area, services provided, and annual budget than it did just as recently as the 2010 census. However, the city does resemble in many ways the Chamblee of 50 years ago. We're seeing a resurgence of new housing, strong employment, and upscale retail development. New restaurants, grocery stores, and boutique shops are popping up all over the city. Heck, we even have a brewery or two, or hopefully more, coming to town. We have to work the beer into the conversation. The growing pains from 2 substantial annexations in 4 years, I'm happy to report, I believe, are behind us. And we have moved forward as one united city. We continue to add to our staff to ensure that we maintain that high level of service that our citizens have always treasured. This past year we added another 42 employees. I don't think that was a one-for-one. I think we had probably lost a couple, but we have 10 new police officers that need to learn what vehicles they drive. And 5 part-time, I believe, in our criminal history division. City Hall, we've hired 2 full-time employees and 1 part-time. Public Works, 12 new individuals. Parks and Rec, 4 full-time, 8 part-time, and I don't even know what we've added in our development department, because I think They're buried under a mound of paperwork over there with all the developments going forward, and I think Gary and his staff have done a great job. They've called in some troops. I appreciate Jacob Engineering for providing that support for us. In economic development in 2015, we continued to strengthen our economic development efforts. Our Main Street program is one of the things we're most proud of. We were accepted in the startup program in the fall of 2013. Chamblee was awarded a National Main Street designation in January of 2015. And in 2016, Chamblee has been accredited as a classic Main Street community. For 2016, Chamblee Main Street and the DDA will work to introduce public arts program, assist with beautification efforts along Peachtree Road, and assist with the business recruitment and retention efforts. In my 2014 State of the City address, I called for 3 bold initiatives and asked for your help to complete the following tasks in the next 24 months. So I thought it'd be kind of good to look back and see where we were from 2 years ago. I asked our community to document the condition of our current economic and employment climate. Well, the council agreed and made this a top priority. And we're currently in the middle of producing an economic development plan for the city of Chamblee. And as we look ahead to what Chamblee will be in the coming years, it's imperative that we continue to focus our effort on growing jobs. So the second initiative that I had asked everyone to help us with was to grow the number of new jobs in Chamblee by 1,000 before December 2016. Keep in mind this was early 2014. Our opportunity is to create those jobs through small businesses and small to medium-sized companies that want to be in our city. So what types of jobs? We need to be attracting IT sector companies in the field of life science and biotech. We need to be looking for opportunities to connect to higher education. In 2015, I reported last year that we had a total estimated 650 to 700 new jobs that were either added by that time or planned to be in Chamblee by the end of this year. Primarily in retail, but we are seeing some significant new development. And with these new developments on the horizon, many of these restaurants, boutique, retail, and office projects will easily surpass the goal of reaching 1,000 new jobs by the end of this year. I know it doesn't sound a lot for our friends from Dunwoody if they were here, because they get to add 5,000 with one company. But maybe the CDC will build another tower over there and we can add 1,000 right off the bat. Therefore, I would like to double down and suggest that with proper planning, Chamblee should add another 1,000 jobs by the end of 2017. You hear that, Adam? It's just right at you. That is the same number of jobs as our previous goal in half of the time. I think we can get there. And so the other thing, then, the third initiative that I had asked folks to look at is to create jobs in downtown, not just around downtown, in downtown. Which is kind of interesting to think of a downtown Chamblee, because when we were 3.5 square miles and just under 10,000 residents back in 2010, I said, Chamblee basically is a downtown. There's not. But since we've got the annexations in north and south, we really have more of a defined central area, which is our central business district. And we really need to be creating jobs and putting people working down in those areas. There are incentives that can bring business and their employees to downtown. So last year I asked the City Council and DDA to work collectively to provide these incentives and begin to work on an RFQ for a development plan for property located in the city core. And thanks to Mayor Pro Tem Brian Mock and the rest of the City Council, that RFP will most likely hit the street in the coming weeks. I'm talking about town center development, creating place. I think it's definitely time to do that. So you can see we've been making great progress. No, seriously, you can see it. Just take a drive down Peachtree Boulevard or Peachtree Road if you don't know what I'm talking about. Last year we adopted a new unified development ordinance. Hopefully some of you here in the development community, as well as our residents and folks just looking to do smaller things that require the help of the development department, have found the new UDO to be very helpful. It's got pretty pictures in it, which helps me. I don't like to read all the text. I just look at the picture. Oh, that's what it's supposed to look like. It was approved in April 21st of 2015. It followed over a year of review, research, public input, and meetings by staff and the elected officials. So here's just some numbers for the number of geeks out there. In 2015, we saw a 74% increase in land disturbance permits issued. This is over the previous year, 2014. We saw a 25% increase in building permit applications, a 108% increase in site development inspections, and a 46% increase in planned unit development, variances, and rezoning cases. So as you can tell, Chamblee's hot. People are coming here, and we're hopefully I believe we are doing a good job of managing that growth. And we're currently working on some new transportation capital projects. Some of these I can say we've been working on for a really long time. I think, Mark, we're going to get a picture of the Phoenix and just put it along Peachtree Road because that project has been dead. So the capital projects currently underway is Chamblee-Dunwoody Road Streetscape Phase 2, which the county's been working on in conjunction with the city, which is Cumberland Drive to Buford Highway. Chamblee-Dunwoody Road Streetscape and Harts Mill Road intersection improvements. I'm most excited about this. I live off Harts Mill Road, and I'm one of those people that go, can't somebody fix this intersection? That's what I said to the officer too when he pulled me over for going through the gore. Like, I've been trying to get them to make that bigger. That's a true story. He said, this is your ticket, it's $150. I said, I know where to go. And the gal at the window goes, you're not going to pay this, are you? And I said, well, no, Trey's probably here with the camera, so yes, I'm going to pay it. How quick can I pay it? So, and the other one, long anticipated and sometimes dead, the one I was just joking about earlier with the Phoenix, and for those of you that have been around transportation, some of you will get this, it's actually a TE project. So, T projects haven't been around for several years now. But it's for Peachtree Road. We're going to do continued streetscapes and sidewalks along the Norfolk Southern Railroad. It's expected to start in the next few weeks. It's very exciting. We'll finally be able to walk on a sidewalk all the way from the MARTA station downtown. And we just get busy on the other side and parking and, well, the RFQ I mentioned earlier should help with some of that. So in 2015, we got another grant from the Atlanta Regional Commission. We'll mention at this point that Chamblee was one of the first cities back in 2000 to receive a LCI grant, a Livable Centers Initiative grant from the Atlanta Regional Commission to study what we could do around our MARTA station. And I'm very proud of the fact, and it gives me great pleasure to be down at the ARC and know that all the great work that had come before us was paying off and that we were getting a lot of attention at the ARC. And so we received another grant in 2014, and this was a joint grant with MARTA. I always love it when we work collectively with others to work these things. And we began an administration of $140,000 LCI implementation study grant for the Chamblee Rail Trail extension. We explored the changing the MARTA detention facility, which some of you know where it is. I know that Kyle and Gary know exactly where it is. But explore the changing the MARTA detention facility into a public amenity, such as a park. It's a couple acres. It's right on the Chamblee Rail Trail. And to prepare a concept plan to extend the current multi-use path 1.5 miles along the abandoned rail line. And then MARTA has also selected Parkside Partners and Patilla Construction, one of our sponsors here today, to develop a parking lot adjacent to this detention facility into a mixed use of retail and restaurant and primarily office. Again, more that office. I'm very excited about seeing more offices. And thank you to you guys from Parkside Partners. They have really led the way in bringing that office component to our downtown area. So in public works and sanitation, everybody was very excited that we went to 1 day a week service. Didn't hear anybody complain about that. And the city assumed the responsibility of the Decca neighborhood, which was the second annexation that we did the area down this way. Took over that service from the county on July 1st, which for some of you, it won't mean much, but for those of us that know, it was a Herculean effort to get our staff up and ready and taking over that area much sooner than we were able to do so with the previous annexation that we had done. We added new equipment to increase the efficiency and to permit a 1 day a week service. I don't know about y'all, but I got a family of 5. I can't take out enough trash to need it picked up twice a week. But we provided rolling carts for garbage and recycling. We purchased 2 one-man leaf vacuum trucks, otherwise known as the boat getter. They were 25% faster and 1/3 the labor cost. So all of those that live right on the edge of Chamblee get to try to blow their leaves over just a little bit so they don't have to bag them. But and what it did, though, is all these changes did a great job of bringing sanitation costs much closer to the dedicated revenue. Through the annexations, it was just evident that we needed to do some things differently in order to be more cost effective. The savings and cost of manpower are being diverted into other public works for street and right-of-way maintenance. We continue to remove over tons of dirt and debris from sidewalks and curbs throughout the city. You know, I used to be able to say that you could tell when you were in Chamblee because one thing Mark Johnson had made sure we did through public safety was having a lot more lights per street lights than we saw in some of the areas around us. And then we always had more manpower to be able to kind of clean up the area a little bit better. But now we got the wonderful cities of Dunwoody and Brookhaven on our borders, and they're doing a great job as well in conjunction with working close with the county and getting everything cleaned up. So In road maintenance, beginning in 2015, Chamblee opted out of the road maintenance and traffic engineering provided by the county. So we started 2016. As far as I know, the city of Chamblee has never provided this service. It's always been a responsibility of the county. But unfortunately, for whatever reasons, the county was not able to maintain them to the level that our residents and business owners were looking for. So we've taken that over. So we'll get to paving that pothole in front of your house or business soon. But previously, the city's road maintenance traffic engineering services were provided by the county. We have continued to fix the worst potholes in the city. Hopefully some of you have noticed that. Rather than just paving a road here or there, the council, with staff's suggestion and a great idea, took that money and started spreading it out and actually fixing the potholes, not just putting something in there that would cave in the next time it got cold. And we've continued to fix it, and what we'll do, we have long-term plans to maintain the roads. We are truly a transit-oriented community with transportation resources like a fixed MARTA rail station, the PDK airport, along with easy access from several arterial roads that link the interstate highways that border our city. I've always said we truly are trains, planes, and automobiles. We have local employers like the CDC, which are in the process of adding thousands of new jobs to the Chamblee campus. I'm looking forward to them doing that. I can stand up here and say we've added thousands of new jobs. We are located close to the medical facilities of Children's, St. Joseph's, Northside Hospital, and all the other medical-related offices of Pill Hill. We need to consistently be working to capitalize on having those assets right in our own backyard. And this year, we're really excited that we have broken ground on a Mercy Care project. Mercy Care, along with Mercy Housing, are putting in a project right across from our MARTA station, where they'll be providing medical services to primarily Medicare, Medicaid patients. Children's Hospital is going in next to them. And then what I'm just as excited about with that addition is Mercy Care will be moving their corporate offices from Pill Hill, from St. Joseph's over here into Chamblee. So that's really exciting. So we're glad to have them, but again, we just need to keep capitalizing on all of those resources that we have in our area. And utilizing these resources, I want to bring the work part back of the live, work, play to Chamblee. So in Parks and Recreation, one of the biggest park stories of 2015 was that Dresden Park became an official Chamblee park. And keep Chamblee beautiful. I tell you what, I'll digress here for just a minute, and thank you for sharing, Maria. It was, one of the great things that folks say about, annexation, it's like, oh, we don't want to change is hard, I get that. Some of the most active individuals we have in our community have come from the areas that were annexed into Chamblee. Most of those folks sitting over there at that table, Keep Chamblee Beautiful, were annexed at one point into the city. I recognized way too late that on our Downtown Development Authority, I think we've got the Huntley Hills Mafia on there. And they weren't just the Huntley Hills that was in Chamblee prior. We got like 4 members of the DDA that live in the Huntley Hills area. I think, talk about takeover of your city. I mean, how bad has it been? Oh my God, they all took over our city. But it's been great. Here's the thing, it just always perplexed me. These folks in these communities were always on our border, but they weren't engaged with the city. So I've always said, in cities, we're in the business of one thing, and that's providing services. And it's in our charter, and it says what we're supposed to do. Right, but then there's something else that comes from being a great city, and that's building a sense of community. And those folks that have been annexed in, I know, have felt as much as the rest of us that have lived here and probably taken for granted for a long time, that sense of belonging, being part of the community. So one of the exciting things was to be able to bring Dresden Park, which is off of Dresden Drive, off of Buford Highway into the city. And again, it was annexed in with those neighbors there. Last year I reported that DeKalb County kind of disagreed with the legality of the method Chamblee was using, and the issue was briefly disputed. But because of the good work of staff and elected officials of both the county and the city, I mean that, thank you very much to all of you in this room, both from the county and city staff and the elected officials, we're able to come together and do the right thing for the community. And Dresden Park is a wonderful gym. I'm glad that the county has maintained it to the point it is, and we hopefully, with the help of all of our community, will take it to the next step. We also made some great improvements to Keswick Park. Believe it or not, the world didn't come to an end because we moved the tennis courts, 10 feet and added a really nice white sidewalk. But we added to the Chamblee Rail Trail some. We might not think of a white sidewalk as a trail, but it is. There's some beautiful lights. We renovated the basketball court and tennis courts. and we're making many more improvements to this park right now. The city staff and council have made it a priority to make improvements of all the park facilities and programs, and many more improvements are planned for the rest of the parks in 2016. In 2015, an RFP for a parks master plan went out, and we are now currently in the process of completing that plan. I'm excited to see the progress of this plan, especially where it looks at connecting all of our parks to the Chamblee Rail Trail. You'll hear me refer to the rail trail all the time. That was the first thing I noticed when I got elected that I wanted to make a part of. And the rail trail was an idea that came out of our 2000 LCI study, that said, there's a possibility of taking all these old rail spurs and turning them into trails. I got elected in 2001, took office in 2002, and while it's taken some time, what we've done, what we're doing with this Parks Master Plan, what the Development Department is doing with MARTA and continuing that rail trail is probably the most exciting thing that I'll say that I was a part of when I'm no longer working here. And who knows when that will be. I've heard there was a recall election for me at some point. Just mention annexation. Anyway, regional efforts. We need to work regionally, right? I've said before, and I think some from larger government jurisdictions might take offense to some of this, but one of the things about being the mayor of a small city, you recognize really quick that you can't do it by yourself. I said that to a county commission chairman, and I didn't know her well enough. I think she was offended. I said, you could take and build a fence around your community, and y'all could sustain. You don't want to, but you could. And she's like, we would never do that. But as a mayor, as a small city, you recognize you got to work with others. So with the support of the Atlanta Regional Commission, in 2016, we continued to advance the Peachtree Gateway Partnership. It's something that you're going to hear a lot more about, is the Peachtree Gateway Partnership. I want you to just remember that. Someday, I'd like for you all to be sitting somewhere going, man, I remember the mayor said something about the Peachtree Gateway Partnership. It's such a great organization. It's a 501c6 that's modeled after Partnership Gwinnett, for those of you that are familiar with that, and really modeled after the Atlanta Airtropolis Alliance. So I won't bore you with what that's all about. If you want to, Google's a wonderful thing. Pull your phone out right now and look at it, because I know I'm probably boring you by now. The board of this organization is made up of representatives from the 4 cities, which we've identified as the mayor and or their designee. A representation from the county, which we hope and that the county will wisely put the director of the airport on the board, but they have a seat on there. And a group of some of the most influential business people in our community. And I won't run through the list, but if I rattle their names off, you go, that's a strong group. First project to come from this group that we saw, and I refer to it as a low-hanging fruit, was a North DeKalb Trail Connectivity Study. And the ARC took all the input from the 4 cities and what we were looking to do with our rail trail, what Dorville was doing and working with the Assembly project and the former GM site and what Dunwoody and Brookhaven, how do we connect, and then how do we connect to the bigger trails? How do we get over to the Georgia 400 trail that the Buckhead CID is working on and ultimately down to the Beltline? So they came up with a 30,000-foot plan. And I think that was just a great deliverable to show what we could do if we continue to work together. And it's a very visual, physical thing that can be done that bring our cities together. I tell you, when I first started thinking about the Chamblee Rail Trail back in the early 2000s, I had 2 young daughters at the time. Now I'm blessed with a son as well. And I thought, it's just for recreation. It'll be great. I've now really come to believe that a trail system, a great trail system throughout the metro area, will provide recreation, but it also will provide alternate source of transportations. I know that the guys from Parkside and Patillo are putting showers in their facility, their office facility, so folks could ride their bike, ride and get in MARTA, get off MARTA, ride from wherever they are. We provide some safe ways for them to do that. And so now we're also looking at the possibility of creating a CID, a Community Improvement District, along the Buford Highway, Peachtree Road, and Peachtree Boulevard corridors. And in 2015, this is something I'm extremely excited about, we were awarded another joint Livable Centers Initiative grant, joint grant with Dorville, to study the Buford Highway corridor. And I think it's really exciting. I think there's just a ton of opportunity there. And so working hand in hand with Dorville, we are going to study that corridor. In communication, we continue to improve the Signal newsletter. Teresa, thank you so much. She's a rock star. We continually to improve the website, although I don't think it keeps up with the millennials because they're always, your website doesn't do it, doesn't do it. We got a website. I was actually at the council. I was at a council meeting. This doesn't tell you how old I am, right? I was at a council meeting. Well, Brian already did that. Thanks, Brian. I was at a council meeting with my wife. It was the only time she would go to council meetings was before I got elected. After I got elected, she didn't go anymore. I mean, of course, then she started having kids and it got busy. But there was a debate on whether or not we needed a website at all. So, I'm like going, God, it may not be a perfect website, and it's been fixed over the years, but we got a website. I mean, that's cool, right? Not only do we have a website, though, we launched Chamblee Connect. It's the official app for the city of Chamblee. And I firmly believe that it does just about everything you need it to, but there are some of those out there that would like to just be able to vote on everything. They're like, well, I didn't get a vote on that. I'm like, well, you did. You voted for your city council, and they vote. No, I want to be able to, so like a poll, you get to, So maybe that's coming. I hope not. I hosted 4 town hall meetings across the city this past summer, and it wasn't even an election year. So I went around and we talked to folks, and staff came along with me and some of the council members, and we got to listen to what folks had on their minds. And this is another thing I said, the Chamblee Rail Trail. The second thing that I'll look back on and be very proud of is Chamblee 101. Last night we recognized the latest class of Chamblee 101. It's been 11 years. The largest class ever. I was looking at my notes from last year's State of the City, and I reported we had the largest class ever at 27. Last night we recognized 35 individuals that took the time to go through a 3-hour a week, 2 or 3 hour, once a week for a 7-week program to learn how the city runs. And when they were all sitting out there last night, I looked at them and said, now, every one of you knows more about how the city operates than those of us sitting up here. And they said, well, we want your job. So, with that, I'll say that wonderful cities like Chamblee do not just happen by chance. They thrive because of the peoples of the community that come together to make a difference. Chamblee is the center of the universe. I repeatedly say this because I believe it. So I'm going to leave you with a quote. Those of you who listened to my speech last year know I'm a big Vince Lombardi fan. And I read this quote last year, but I think it's worth repeating. Winning is a habit. Watch your thoughts. They become your belief. Watch your beliefs. They become your words. Watch your words. They become your actions. Watch your actions. They become your habits. Watch your habits. They become your character. And God bless you. God bless our great city. And God bless America.
Resident and business owner in Chamblee, as well as many of our board members and members at large of the chamber. We wanted to take a moment to give the mayor a gesture of our appreciation. And it basically says here, because you probably can't read it from there, in appreciation to Mayor Eric Clarkson, in appreciation of your years of service to our city, its citizens, and our business community, thanks for making the center of the universe a great place to live, work, and play.
Thank you. Anything they usually give you on your way out the door, so when you're trying to tell me something. Did the council put you up to this?
Not an election year.
And Brooke, I gotta say, if you ask one of my kids what second place is, they'll tell you first loser. Thank you. Do you have time for any questions, or do you want me to answer any questions?
Would you like?
I don't mind if anybody has any questions.
Q&A would be good.
Did anybody have any questions? We usually do that, but we all stood up, so I'm like, cool, I'm taking it. And then you got me back up here. But was there any questions? Anything just burning you up? No? All right, good deal. I'm around. I'm easy to find. I tell everybody I was, raised in sales. I answer my phone and it rang. It might be money. So just, I'm real easy to find. Reach out anytime. If I can help you, I will. If not, I'll point you towards the staff. That's what they do. So thank you again.
Well, a couple notable things happened today. Just for those of you that don't know, and you probably wouldn't, this is our largest event in terms of attendance in the history of our chamber, so we'd like to thank every one of you for being part of that. The mayor actually outdrew Monica Kaufman, so that's notable, and that's really good. So, and as we always like to say, and the other notable thing is we're actually going to finish on time. Sometimes I lose track of time, which is really bad form for a funeral director. So at any rate, I always like to say, let's go make some money. and have a great day, and have a great weekend. Thanks for coming.